Most people think confidence comes from motivation, that if they could feel inspired enough, ready enough, or even confident enough, things will finally change. But motivation is inconsistent. It comes and goes, and when confidence is built on something that's unstable, it doesn't last. And I want to be clear before we go any further. I'm not sharing this from someone who has it all together. I'm still becoming, I'm still learning. This is something I'm walking through in real time, not something I've mastered. What I'm sharing comes from paying attention to what's actually working, not from perfection. And what I've learned is that confidence doesn't come from the hype. It comes from trust, and that's self-trust. And self-trust is something God builds quietly over time, and it's not all at once. If you ever told yourself you were going to do something, become more disciplined, show up differently, change how you live, and then didn't follow through, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means trust was broken. And when self trust breaks, confidence fades. Not because you're incapable, but because your inner world noticed old patterns. Now, before we go deeper, if you're rebuilding life and want real conversations about confidence, discipline, emotional intelligence, faith, and even money habits without pressure or pretending like it's easy, go ahead and like this video and subscribe and stay with me because this message connects to what we'll be talking about next. Confidence grows when your words and actions start matching again. That's how trust is built, and that process is usually slow, humble, and unseen. God doesn't rebuild us through loud moments, He does through repeated, quiet obedience. Now I used to think that confidence would come first and then I'll take action. But what actually happened was the opposite. God kept nudging me to move without feeling ready, take small steps before I felt confident, and even time I responded instead of waiting. Something shifted. Confidence didn't show up dramatically, it settled in over time. This shows up in everyday life. You plan to be consistent, you miss a day. Instead of reclaiming or restarting calmly, you criticize yourself and quit. That's not a discipline issue, that's a self-trust issue. And shame never rebuilds trust, it destroys it. God doesn't lead us through shame, He leads us through invitation, through conviction that corrects without crushing. And when you begin responding to yourself the same way, confidence starts to return. Confidence also affects how you speak and how you show up around others. When self trust is low, you over explain, you second guess, you replay those conversations in your head. But when trust grows, you become steadier. You don't feel the need to prove yourself, and you're okay with being misunderstood. That calm is confidence. Now, emotional intelligence plays a big role here. It teaches you how to pause instead of react, and that pause is where wisdom lives. It's often where God speaks, not in the rush, but in the stillness. Every time you pause and respond instead of reacting, your confidence deepens even more. Now, one of the biggest shifts for me was realizing confidence isn't about being impressive or loud. It's about being faithful, faithful to small commitments, faithful to rest, faithful to what God has already shown you, even when you don't see the full picture yet. Confidence doesn't mean you never doubt yourself. It means you don't let that doubt stop you from obeying. You don't let that doubt stop you from doing what you said you was gonna do. You move anyway. And every time you do, that self-trust builds and confidence follows. Now, if confidence has felt out of reach for you, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not broken, you're being rebuilt, and God rebuilds from the inside out. Self trust is part of that work. And as we keep going on this channel, we're going to talk about how self trust connects to discipline, obedience, emotional regulation, and living with clarity in real life. This isn't about overnight change, it's about steady transformation. So if this resonated, please like the video and subscribe and stay tuned because the next conversation is about how to rebuild self trust when life keeps interrupting your plans. And it builds directly on everything we've talked about today. Stay blessed, be grateful. See you in the next one.